Improvised weapons, the ninja's secret arsenal. Disclaimer: this blog post is for educational and historical purposes only, focusing on ninja history and tactics. The content is not intended as a guide for creating or using weapons. The author and website do not encourage or endorse creating or using weapons for any unlawful purpose. Emphasize that certain improvised weapons may be illegal in many jurisdictions. Strongly recommend prioritizing peaceful conflict resolution. Advise consulting local laws regarding self-defense tools and techniques. Encourage seeking qualified professional self-defense training. This information should not substitute for professional self-defense training or legal advice. Improper training can lead to serious injury or legal consequences. A long time ago, the ninjas built their martial arts system with things they had at hand. Understanding how weapons are deployed helped them to develop their particular iconic weapons. But let's start with the story of how these warriors started. You need to go back 1,500 years or so when Chinese monks fled China, as they had developed much of the art of pre-ninjutsu. They worked as spies mostly, but when the various dynasties fell, the rising powers hunted down these spies and eliminated them. So many fled to Japan and hid out in the mountains around Iga and Koga. Here is some research from Gemini. Early influences, pre-12th century. Indigenous mountain folk. It's believed that the skills and practices that would later become ninjutsu were initially developed by indigenous people living in the mountainous regions of Japan. These individuals possessed intimate knowledge of the terrain and were adept at survival techniques, camouflage, and unconventional warfare. Yamabushi, these mountain ascetics, who practiced a blend of shujendo, mountain worship, and Buddhism, were also skilled in martial arts, survival, and esoteric knowledge. They are often considered to be among the earliest precursors to the ninja. Chinese influences. During the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 CE, there was significant cultural exchange between China and Japan. It's likely that Chinese military strategies and espionage techniques, along with esoteric practices like Taoism, influenced the development of ninjutsu. Formalization of ninjutsu, 12th century. Daisuke Tagakure, a former samurai who lost his position and status, Daisuke is credited with formalizing the art of ninjutsu. He retreated to the mountains of Iga province, where he encountered Kane Doshi, a Chinese warrior monk. Together, they synthesized their knowledge and skills, laying the foundation for the Iga school of ninjutsu. Emergence of ninja clans, 14th to 16th centuries. Iga and Koga, these two regions became renowned for their ninja clans, who served as mercenaries and spies for various feudal lords during periods of conflict. The Iga and Koga clans developed distinct styles of ninjutsu, but both emphasized stealth, espionage, and unconventional warfare tactics. Key points to remember. Secrecy. Ninjas were masters of stealth and secrecy, leaving behind few historical records. Much of what we know comes from later manuals and fictionalized accounts. Adaptability. Ninjutsu was not a rigid system but rather a collection of adaptable skills and techniques tailored to specific situations. Versatility. Ninjas were not just assassins or spies. They were also skilled in a wide range of disciplines, including martial arts, survival, medicine, and even entertainment, performing arts. Now, what was passed on to me was that the Chinese monks watched the Japanese mountain people get raided and abused by roaming bands of renegade samurai. As the mountain people grew their crops and stored what they could to survive the winter, these samurai bands would come into the hills and find the small villages of farmers. They would take what they could carry and, of course, have their way with any of the farmers' family members they desired. One of the farmers left the village and headed down to the ports near the sea. On his way down the mountain trail, he was approached by several Chinese monks and they spoke Japanese. They asked the farmer, "Do you like the roaming bands of samurai who pillage your village?" "Of course not." "So, would you like to learn how to stop them from coming?" The farmer said, "Yes." "How can we stop such powerful men?" The monks told them about setting up watching posts to warn of their coming. We talked about how to set up traps that would kill the samurai and how to train them to fight. The monks helped them think differently about warfare. Ultimately, the natural man traps, which the Japanese put their creative twist on, started to make some real difference. The word got out that you shouldn't go into the mountains and steal food or mess with the people there. They didn't know who was doing the killing, but it started some actual folklore. The samurai were very uneducated and very superstitious, and the ninjas used this to their great advantage. Some samurai would travel up into the mountains to figure out who was attacking them. However, few survived the adventure. At one point, the ninjas attacked a samurai warrior with weapons he had never seen before. At the end of this ordeal, the samurai ran back down the mountains. He had many tales of fighters that you didn't even see. Their arms were much longer than a human's, as they could hit you from a far distance with their fist. They could walk on water and fly through the air. And they were demons, as they would light fire rings in the sky so you could see their demon faces. All of this is true. In upcoming blog posts, I will tell you how all that was true, but for now, let's focus on the weapons. Most of their weapons were all designed by the ninja. Some were repurposed farm instruments, but others were very unique. And that brings us to the heart of this blog post, the ability to create and use improvised weapons. As I continue to study ninjutsu from my earliest exposure in 1972, but more heavily in 1980, I found the weapons nothing short of amazing. As I researched them, I started to see a pattern. As an engineer, we are born to see patterns, I guess, but as an engineer in weapons systems, I began to understand weapons of opportunity creation better. Let's take a look at what I started to see. 1.0 Categories of weapons. In my martial arts classes, I routinely do a make a weapon class, which is really a make an improvised weapon. To do it properly, I go through a simple category of weapons so that when they are out looking around outside or in the desert, they know how to make a successful weapon. They will need to demonstrate that weapon, too, so if it is junk or won't function as a weapon, they will be a little embarrassed. To help mitigate this embarrassment, I will spend time in the ninja weapons categories. As such, they learn the essential features and performances that will make a weapon successful in that category. It also shows how some weapons fall into cross-categories, therefore, more than one set of physics is involved, and it must be taken into account for the improvised weapon to function correctly. The ninja weapons currently fall into the following categories. Ballistic, the ninjas seldom used such a thing, but there are a few cases in which they played with this sort of weapon. Primarily for large-scale missions where they needed to signal each other. Projectile, these are weapons dominated by flight dynamics. Examples are firearms, arrows, spears, knives, shuriken, blinding powder, or worse, and blowguns. Rotational weapons, this is a famous story from China about how the three-sectional staff was created. A bow staff broke into 3 pieces, and the monk used rope to tie the parts back together again. However, what he made was something fantastic. Bow staff against bow staff. When you strike at the head, and your opponent raises his bow staff to block the strike, that is it. Your bow stops right there. However, with a 3-sectional staff, the rope flexes, and the parts of the staff keep going right around the blocking bow staff. You ultimately hit your opponent in the head with a fast-moving stick, as the conservation of momentum is at play. Just like an ice skater spinning with their arms out, as they pull in their arms, they spin faster. That is the conservation of momentum at work, and that is why the parts of the 3-sectional staff accelerate to hit your opponent. So, rope or chain weapons can use the same principle, and therefore, they should be designed with this in mind. Linear weapons, this applies to swords, knives, and sticks. The power of the sword, for a ninja, comes from the body. This is in contrast to other warriors who develop their sword power from their arms. Chemical weapons, ninjas are big in poisons and many other chemical weapons. Their use of pyrotechnics to start fires to move warriors to a location. All the time the ninjas were scaling walls on the opposite side of the compound. Blinding powder falls into this category, but it also falls into the projectile category. Biological weapons, also, biological mixtures were used to poison the water sources, if possible, to make the warriors sick and also the animals. This was all done 3 days before the compound was due to be attacked. Now, let's explore some simple yet effective improvised weapons. Some of these improvised weapons also have videos of me showing how to make and use them. So, let's jump right into the fascinating world of improvised weapons. 2.0 Improvised weapons in detail. All of these weapons are considered melee weapons as they are used in direct, hand-to-hand combat. They are designed to be effective at close ranges and act as an extension of the warrior or a part of their combat strategy. They usually are not the result of contact with an opponent, but rather, they are made ahead of time prior to their need of use. Remember that this isn't meant to be a roadmap for you to make these weapons and hurt people. Instead, remember that the point here is to highlight how the ninja made weapons from pure junk. So, if you need to make some of these weapons, remember that if you should need to use them, do so responsibly. Also, once the aggression against you has stopped, so must you. You can't punish your opponent legally. 2.1 The CD or DVD-ROM. Yep, your standard CD or DVD-ROM can be a deadly weapon. In the following video, you can see how my friend, Ron Lester, is puzzled by how this could be a weapon. I handed a DVD to him, and he tried to figure out how you could use a round piece of plastic as a weapon. I showed him how to flex the DVD, which breaks into many pieces. Several are almost the size of the palm of your hand, and they fit nicely like a makeshift knife. There are many shards that can be used to penetrate the ears, nose, or eyes. You could also reach many of the arteries of the body, which, in time, would cause death. With so many improvised weapons, you can cause serious injury, deterrent, or death. On the DVD-ROM or CD, you can use a knife to score the plastic, and it will usually break on or near that line. Thus, you can have your DVD break into very sharp, curved knives that fit into the palm of your hand. You must use this knowledge correctly, as you will live with the results for the rest of your life. It is something not to be taken lightly, and being kind to evil does have its place, perhaps. Also, know that once the aggression against you is stopped, legally, you are not permitted to punish your attacker, so be sure you don't end up in jail and your attacker goes free. Here is a demonstration with a hilarious guy, Ron Lester. RIP. I hope you enjoy the lesson and the entertainment. Oh, for those movie buffs, Ron was the quarterback of the movie Varsity Blues.
Think you can work with that? A CD-ROM. Well, I can't put my finger in it, so how's that? I mean, like, I could maybe, like, you know, use it to press it, you know, like,
right.
Press like that, maybe, but... Well...
You think?
Would never think to do that.
3 points?
3 points, exactly.
Just by accident?
I mean, that's slap. Ow! See, I don't actually touch you. There's a difference in this.
But how cool is that? Huh?
It's who thinks to do this? That's what I'm saying. It's so simple. It's like, and it's around you. Everybody has this in their car.
Take the shard.
Yeah.
In the ear.
Up the nose.
Bang.
Up the.
Right.
Oh my God.
The person that you do that with, if you stent it in his ear canal, he's going to have all his equilibrium messed up. You can't get it back out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. You would never think that could be the thing that could
Save the
disarm somebody or
save the life of
a passenger.
Yeah, or all the passengers.
Yeah, well, all the passengers. Yeah. But and we all have these. It's just a mess.
Wow. That's why
I'm almost afraid that because some of our listeners are not the brightest people in the world.
Right.
So,
well, maybe we
and we love you. But
maybe we don't put this on. That's,
oh no, it would be great ratings if someone actually used it because of our show.
So these are kind of crazy, right?
So.
Practical takeaway: using the CD or DVD-ROM as a self-defense improvised weapon means that you break a few of them and practice with the broken parts. Here is a link to get 50 CD-ROMs for $11. https://tinyurl.com/year3bkwu4. So, realistically, they are inexpensive for developing your skills with this tool. I would try to score some of the CD-ROMs to make a tool more like a defender's self-defense weapon and see what you can make. Then, once you decide on the shape you want to have, I would make 10 of them and place them everywhere you might occupy. In your car, in the bathroom, next to your computer, in your TV room, and your backpack. You can also make some up for loved ones and, of course, show them how to use it. You can take them anywhere with you, and remember, they make a handy-dandy drink coaster. 2.2 soda or beer can. Again, here I am with Ron Lester.
I know we've had a whole lot of fun. It's been fun. And I noticed you have your beer, so I'm assuming you're a little thirsty.
Yes, time for my morning drink here.
Right? Notice I don't have one.
Then
For
we
good
have to
reason.
drive.
I guess I have to drive.
So, you can use a beer can as a defender as well.
How?
Well, say, for example,
I don't even know why I asked that question.
you're gonna get, you gotta get drunk at the bar, and you're gonna hustle around a little bit, right?
Right.
You want to take their mind off of the fight altogether.
Right.
So when you get in the huddle and you guys are fighting,
Right.
you hook them in,
Right.
you get that ear, and you pour it right down his ear. It does take your mind off the fight, doesn't it?
If it wasn't for Coors Light, I'd be upset you spilled the beer. Holy hell. Yeah.
So say you wanted to choke me, now you're mad at me, right? Okay. So
Remember, I have to drive home. If I get pulled over and I smell like beer, it's going to be
I
horrible.
might have to give you a t-shirt.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they're going to come up and choke you.
Right.
You take the rim right underneath the nose.
Oh.
And also,
Snorkeling. Shit.
get a good close-up. That'll make a great.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how you do that.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a beer this way.
Speaking of which, you can get a hold of an
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right on the rim.
it becomes a defender.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we squeeze, right?
Squeeze.
Eyeballs.
Holy shit. Or
Yes.
or
Points, defenders, cutting. Yep. Works with
a
Coke
beer can or a Coke can that you can have on an airplane. Anyone could use this.
Isn't that crazy?
But to me, because this is just, you could wham
Yes.
and just,
Yes.
even if this doesn't hold up, it's still gonna
Well,
just.
you can fold it so it can hold up, so you do start to work an edge like that.
Right, but if I didn't have time to do that,
All right.
even just a slight, even if it was just a little cut, it's gonna distract. Ow. Why do you like that nipple so much?
I
Don't
Maybe
go
you got
to
big
the other
nipples,
one.
I don't know. You
Shit.
got weak nipples.
I've been shot, poked,
Tweaked.
The
tweaked.
the rim on the ear. The rim. We'll work on that end, but we'll work
Yeah,
on that end.
but it's just, again, it's simple.
We used a beer can this time, and I showed Ron how this could be used as a weapon. It's not quite as aggressive as a DVD-ROM, but it can do an excellent job on an attacker. The beer itself can be an effective defender self-defense weapon, https://pdws.biz. To make it a bad boy, you fold the thin aluminum so that it creases several times to cause metal fatigue, and then you can easily tear it into two parts. What you have now is a very effective self-defense weapon. You can fold the aluminum foil parts to make points for stabbing, slicing, and cutting. You can attack the eyes with ease, and that is a very strategic move. You can obviously poke them to move them around or out of your way so you can run. Practical takeaway: the other day, I was telling my best friend about being able to take an empty soda can onto an airplane. I said, "Who would do that?" My best friend Steve said, someone who had purchased a soda in a can after the TSA checkpoint had, it would be available to take on the plane, perhaps, 1 or 2 more swallows of the soda left. Ah. Okay then. It might be an excellent procedure to take an empty soda can on board every plane you fly. This way, if they don't give you a beverage in a can on the plane, you still have a can to use. I would save up some cans, clean them out, and practice what I learned from the videos I provided. Once you get the idea of how to use the cans effectively, then refresh your skills once a year. Have your can in your backpack pocket right along with your CD-ROM drink coaster. 2.3 Blinding powder. I can't give you the exact recipe for blinding powder as it is a family secret. However, I can teach you to make something that works well. You can mix this up into a baggie and take it with you anywhere you go. If ever asked what it is, tell them it is your unique formula for spicing up your food. And it is entirely edible. Mix equal parts of salt, ground black pepper, and ground red pepper or ground cayenne pepper. Mix it up really well and put it into a baggie. Okay, it's time to use it. Pour the mixture into the palm of your hand and close your fingers around it. When you have a clear shot at their eyes or even one eye, throw the mixture in a way that your hand opens up close to your target.
And the way they carried this blinding powder was hollowed out eggshell, and which Peter has made up for us today. And both in the earlier case and in this case, they're filled with flour. We don't really want to blind these people or anesthetize them. So here, Peter is a ninja, is stealthing along until the samurai finds him, draws his katana, gets blinded with the blinding powder, kicked down, rolls over that guy, stabs the second samurai, makes sure that one's not moving, comes back, collects the scabbard, and can make his escape.
Here we are. Boom. Okay. All right, you can open up your eyes. I'm going to be in a doko stance, which is keeping my blinding powder back behind my ear. And as I'm here, as he's moving in, I'm moving out of the way of that sword and delivering right on the target. Okay? And we'll see it one more time. Okay? You see, I'm out of the way. That sword now is mine. He's a dead man. Now, get up and face towards the camera. Turn towards the camera. You can see how that was delivered. Can you look that way? Okay.
Here's what happens. First, if they inhale, they will start coughing. That is the first sign it's time to run or go to the next phase of your attack.
Now, as a special demonstrator, has a sensitivity to spices or herbs. Let's go to the kid back.
Lee, come back here. Yeah, come back here.
Because they're actually going to toss these, throw them up in the air, and you'll be able to get some sort of sense of what it would be like. Now, if you get hit in the face with a concentrated dose of this, you wouldn't like it. It'll be just for a minute or two. We'll let you come right back up, okay? We'll let you come right back up. What we're going to do with this is break it and pull it in the air. Yes. Anytime you want to. This you mean? Just like mace. It'd be just like mace. Whenever you're prepared to use mace, you can be prepared to use one of these.
No, okay, mace. You as the clan, you as have any opportunities?
Zero.
Zero.
Okay. We certainly hope zero. We hope never to have to use it. Okay, with this now, if you get a good score of it, knee. All right? Okay, wait. All right, so.
Thank you.
Hey, do it again. Do it again. got one just for you. Okay. Bruce Bell, have it for me. You did that. Well, we're doing after the demo. After the demo. Okay, what's next? That's it. Okay. Another weapon is the Baka Hatsugama. And here, the ninja will demonstrate how he can use the weight at the end of the chain to keep his opponent at a distance. Very minimal.
Second, with some luck, the powder mixture will reach their moist eyes. Next, the black pepper and cayenne pepper will cake on their eyes. Finally, the salt, which hits first, will be there, and then they start to blink their eyes due to the pepper mixture. Third, when they blink, the salt causes hundreds of scratches on the cornea of the eye, which is very painful if you have ever had a cornea scratch before, but the black pepper starts a quick burn of the eyes. More blinking means more scratches, which causes tears in the eyes. This wets the red cayenne pepper. Fourth, the cayenne pepper gets wet and releases its long-term burning oil into the eyes. This is a long-term burn oil that flows into all those cornea scratches. This is a no-nonsense improvised weapon. Now, if you are at a restaurant, what do you have on the table? Salt and pepper. You are almost there. If you have any hot sauce, you can add that to the salt and pepper mixture to get the long-term burn. As a side note, if you are in the part of the country that doesn't put salt on the table, that's no problem, as sugar does the same thing as salt. In the cornea scratch, you are looking for something cubistic in shape or at least abrasive. It must be something that will scratch the cornea for the other parts to work. So, sugar can perform this, too, or even sand. However, you don't find sand at the restaurant table very often. So, if someone comes into the restaurant and threatens everyone, it is time to open up the salt and pepper shakers. Pour the salt and pepper into the palms of your hands, then add your Tabasco sauce or the like, and you are ready for a fight. Practical takeaway: trying to teach each of you how to throw blinding powder correctly would not be possible. Therefore, I think each person should develop their own way of throwing the powder. I would take a plastic dinner plate and nail it to a tree. Then, get 5 pounds of flour and grab a handful. Stand in front of the target and try tossing the powder until you hit the plate. Move a little closer to the plate and keep throwing until you can hit it most of the time. Next, add one thing. Step off the line of attack of the opponent. Perhaps take some flour and form a straight line out 10 feet or so. Stand over the line at the distance that you were able to throw the powder and start to practice again. However, this time, you step off the line and then throw your powder. Finally, you make a baggie of the real stuff and try throwing that the same way you were doing. Make sure not to inhale the dust or touch your eyes. These would be the best way to teach yourself how to throw blinding powder. 2.4 Plastic straw. Again, another yep. You can kill with a drinking straw from a fast food joint or ones you purchase from the store. However, they do need to be plastic or metal, but not paper. The ninjas never had a plastic straw, but they understood compressed air. The harnessing of gases to do work is called pneumatics. So, if you take a straw between your thumb and forefinger and quickly try to push it into a potato, it won't pierce the skin at all. Now, a potato is a more challenging target than the human body. If you could make the plastic straw penetrate the human body, you could hit targets that could cause serious issues for an attacker. If you fold over the end of the straw, place the straw in between your fingers and palm, plus fold over the end of the straw so the air can't escape, you have a weapon. This weapon can be used against the eyes, ears, and arterial targets. How does this work? As you place your folded straw end into your hand, you stop the escape route for the air trapped in the straw. As the straw is pushed into the potato, the air starts to get compressed and doesn't allow the straw wall to collapse. The farther you go into the potato, the more air pressure you have to hold up the straw wall. It's just that simple, but only if you know about weapons theory. Again, you must use this knowledge responsibly. There are both ethical and legal responsibilities.
Master Peter Brusso here. We've got our potato, and I'm going to show you how to kill somebody but we're going to do it with a potato and a straw. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so we got a basic straw now, okay? Now, if I try to, you can see that's not working. All right, so here's what a ninja has taught us to do. We want about an inch and a half, 2 inches here. So we're going to fold this straw over like that. And that's going to be at our thumb. Maybe we got to do this, get this out of the way here. But we've got our straw all squished up. But we only need part of it. And we want to get it in our hand like so. And now you can see very nicely how that's stuck in there. And the reason why it's stuck in there is basically once you cut off the airflow from leaving the tube, it compresses. Now, if you were drinking a soda and you put your finger over the soda to hold it in there and then did this, you would get even a better thing. But so for the act of the improvised weapon, you sneak up on your potato and you hold it good with your other hand and you kill it until it's dead. And that is how you do that. Killing with a straw. I'm Master Peter Brusso. I'll see you on the web or on the mat. Who knows?
Practical takeaway: go to the grocery store and purchase your drinking straws. Don't forget a small bag of potatoes or a few baker's potatoes. When you get home, try to stick them by holding the straw with your fingers. You can't. So then, place the straw into your hand, with about 1 inch of the straw or more sticking out the bottom of your hand. Find the place to fold over the straw tightly and close your palm. Put the bent end inside your closed palm, too, and put your thumb over the bent end so it doesn't slip. Then, stealthily approach your victim. Don't look at them as they will feel you. Slowly reach out and grab your victim firmly and stab them repeatedly until they are dead. You can now add straws to your backpack pocket to keep the CD-ROM, empty soda can, and blinding powder company. 2.5 cane. Medical canes, or most of them, are light and flimsy, so you can't do much with them. If you can find a custom wood cane builder, you have hit pay dirt. I have one from my teacher, Master Ed Martin, who lived in Pennsylvania and worked with the Amish to create a unique and robust cane. My cane has a curved handle, as many aluminum canes do, but the handle gap is wider. It fits around an opponent's neck. Also, the end of the cane is carved into a long, flat point that allows you to attack pressure points.
Hi, Master Peter Brusso again. I'm going to show you the cane from Master Martin. God bless him, he's passed, unfortunately. And he taught the cane to us 15 years ago. I bought several of these. This is my last surviving cane. What's unique about this cane, this wood cane's flat on the top, so your hand fits really nice as a weapon for when you're going to use it as a weapon. You get a good grip to it. Also at the end here, beautiful little point, but it's not sharp, so the TSA or other ones can't say you can't take it with you. It's a medical device. Somebody grabs this, and they have attacked you. It's a felony. Okay, to attack a person with a medical device. This point can fit right behind the clavicle and take a person down, but you'll notice now this fits around my neck. So you can do a lot of turning and torquing to somebody very quickly. This is not like your normal cane. Hardwood, really good. Actually, it was made from wood on his property in Pennsylvania, and you add a little point. This is a cane. In the improvised weapons, if you take a piece of wood that has a stem, which we talk about, you can make a bit of a cane. Won't be nearly as robust as this. But if you're around palm trees, they've got those jagged needles, and you can wrap one set down one side, one set down another, and come up and just cut right through people very nicely. We talk about the power of the ninja in using swords or a cane. If you're going to strike, most people use the power of their hands. we use the power of our body. It's far better, far more precise, and a lot more powerful. So when you hear me talk about using your strikes with your body, that's what I mean. So this is the cane, got the Bujinkan symbol on it even, getting rubbed off. So, improvised weapon, yeah, you're improvising this kind of a weapon in real life. I'm Master Peter Brusso, and I'll see you on the mat or on the web. Who knows? Have a nice night.
So, taking this as an example, let's digitally run outside the dojo, martial arts school, and see what we might craft into an improvised cane. We are in the desert in this case, and we can go into the clumps of small trees to see if we can find a branch that has a limb at right angles coming out of it. We can break off the branch or cut it out with our knife. Now, we have a 3-foot thick branch for the cane shaft and a right angle branch for a hand grab location. Clean the bark off the branch and cut it off on the right angle limb to make the handle. Make sure to carve the handle with a point so you can use that as a weapon. But wait, we are not done yet. Now, since this isn't hardwood, it might not hold up to repeated clubbing action, so let's see if we can alter the cane to be more robust or add to the bite of the cane. Around the desert, we have palm trees, and their leaves have some wicked thorns. These thorns run down the sides of the stem of the leaf. So, if one took 1 or 2 of these thorn leaves, cut off the leaves and use the stem only. Lash the stems onto the shaft of the cane with paracord or the like, and you now have created a very different walking stick or cane. This cane could cut through an opponent's neck in a heartbeat with the palm thorns. It could be used to hit like a ninja sword using one's body to add to the power of the hit. You could use the handle pointed end to attack pressure points. It could also be used, in a sword motion, to poke into the opponent's body and cause injuries, attacking the eyes, hands, or arms at the pressure points. Now, if you find yourself in a more rural urban setting, you can look for sprinkler piping as a cane. Then, find a thorn bush to augment the shaft like bougainvillea. It's the components and the theory of weapons that give the ninja the improvising skills. You can see how this everyday junk was used by ninjas to make their weapons. Again, they were poor warriors but very resourceful. Practical takeaway, canes take a bit more planning compared to the other improvised weapons. Although you can run out and make something in a pinch, in the long run, you will need to do a fair amount of research to get the item you want, plus you would be proud of owning it. So please spend some time finding someone who makes these hardwood canes and pick up a conversation with them. I will include a picture of my master's cane design for you to contemplate. 2.6 Improvised Knife and Defender. In one of our Go Make a Weapon classes, one of my students came back with a very unusual mix of weapons. He found, in the desert, an old bird cage for a large parrot. Inside the cage were still the wood perches, which are very dense wood as the parrot's claws are strong plus sharp. He removed one that was shaped like a Y, but one of the legs of the Y was bent more horizontally. One side of the Y pointed more straight up the shaft, and the other was bent at a 45-degree angle. Perfect. With a little knife work, this would make a very good defender's self-defense weapon, https://pdws.biz. The next thing he found was a very weathered stick that split open lengthwise. Not much but some, and he thought he might be able to work something in that slit. Back to the bird cage. The cage was broken up, and he worked on one of the bars that held the parrot. He pulled it out, and using a rock, he hammered that thin bar into the slit of the stick. He used the rock to sharpen the bar, and he had made an ice pick. That could be very handy in attacking the neck, body, or the eyes of an opponent. When he came back into the dojo, he showed how you could use both of these weapons at the same time. The defender was very useful in stopping an opponent's attack, and the ice pick, well, you can imagine how that went. We have wooden, man-size, knife-throwing targets, and the ice pick stuck very well at 3 different attack points. The defender also left dents, which he used to attack pressure points. The combination was impressive. Practical takeaway, learn to use a defender, as the lessons there will serve you very well should you need to improvise a defender. Also, next time you are at the beach, lake, or in the woods, look at pieces of wood to see what you might be able to do with them to make them formidable weapons. Learn pressure points so you will know where to attack with your beechwood should you need to make an improvised defender self-defense weapon. 3. Conclusion. The early history of the ninja is a fascinating blend of fact and legend. While their exact origins remain unclear, it's evident that they emerged from a convergence of indigenous knowledge, Chinese influences, and the need for unconventional warfare tactics in feudal Japan. The ninjas' resourcefulness and adaptability extended beyond their specialized tools to encompass the art of improvisation. By understanding the fundamental principles of weapon design and combat, they could transform everyday objects into practical means of defense and offense. Today's ninjas can show from the sharpened edge of a broken CD to the piercing power of a plastic straw. They demonstrate the ingenuity and a deep understanding of combat principles, which can turn even the most mundane items into formidable weapons. These skills you read about can be what we call cherry-picked to give you more options for your own self-defense needs. Many of these ideas can be used for anti-home invasion or when you are out shopping. Other concepts might support you when you are out and about for a meal or in a parking lot. Another thought might be to prepare some of these tools for your car in case you have a flat tire and find yourself in a bad area. Some of these improvised weapons are good not only to remember but also to have a day, once a year, to make them and train with them. It could be a fun family event, or get your friends over to a barbecue to explore the various improvised weapons. Knowledge isn't powerful as many say it is. But, rather, knowledge put into action is powerful. Remember, the knowledge of improvised weapons should be used responsibly and ethically, prioritizing self-defense and avoiding unnecessary harm.
Keep a good stance,